is this brief mortal life, if not the pursuit of legacy?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Westeros for a bit of a quieter episode, but one with a lot of stuff going on. Justin, how are you, my friend?
Mike. I am doing all right. I smell like gunfire right now. I don't know if you smell that.
You smell like sunfire?
I smell like gunfire, like fire, smoke. That's what I smell like. Smell like smoke. There's been a lot.
Oh, so you smell like Stefan Darkland.
You basically. I happened to be there when that happened, when that whole incident went down, and it was wild.
All right, so we've got episode 6, which is called Smallfolk, and I remember it's funny. I remember I was talking to you last week about it, and I was I think I was saying, like, I appreciate the fact that they're spending a lot of time with Smallfolk, and now they do an entire episode based on them.
Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned that, and just even talking about how it's been like such a slow burn. That's my main word I like to say, with the Smallfolk, and then centering on these certain little characters like Hugh Hammer, and of course we got Corliss's son, Adam, and then Alan, and now things are starting to speed up a little bit with them. So I'm very excited to see where things are going, especially since I haven't gotten to this part in the book. So I'm just very excited to see how all of this is going to play out.
Yeah, well, they are largely off the reservation in terms of the book. I mean, the kind of the big points are still happening, but a lot of the a lot of the smaller details that they've got going on in these episodes are, stuff that the show has invented. The whole thing with Darren and with Daemon at Harrenhal.
Oh my God.
It was like 2 sentences in the book. Daemon went to Harrenhal, raised a host.
Please tell me that. So wait, I usually even tell me 2 sentences in the book, but they're stretching this thing out all season long. Like,
yeah, they're definitely trying to make something of Daemon and Alice, and I don't know if it's to just make Daemon's character a little more interesting. I don't know if it's leading them somewhere. I don't know if it's doing something with Daemon. I told you last week I thought that he was going to come back over to Rhaenyra's side a little more firmly. So. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Although, based on the trailer for next week, he's got some people with him, so hopefully that army's coming, and hopefully I'm right, and he is going to be kind of going back fully into Rhaenyra's thing. But Rhaenyra's got her own problems going on now, and she definitely I don't think that whole thing with Sir Stefan went the way that she was expecting it to go.
Oh, something dark. Is that his first name, Darkland? Darkland?
Yeah, Darkland, yeah.
They need to call him Dark Meat, because that's what he is right now.
Oh, you did not say that.
Yeah, sure did. You know what? And I'm so sorry, because that's the thing about these shows, man. They give you these likable characters. Because I actually liked him from the get-go. He really was proving himself to be very loyal to Rhaenyra. Very nice, kind-hearted man. And then it just went downhill just straight from there. And I knew it once he got there. I said, this is not going to end well. And sure enough, in true Game of Thrones fashion, the good guys get burnt up. But too soon, though, Mike? Was it too soon?
It was a little bit too soon, yeah. And the way they played it out, I mean, Rhaenyra and Jace kind of stand there like, oh, this is going to work. And uh-oh.
Gotta
go now.
And then I don't know who I gotta get these names right, but the older gentleman that was trying to lecture Rhaenyra as she was walking out, and he's like, "Oh, I know this is not gonna work. All this stuff, this is so crazy." Now we lost 2 good people, all this stuff, and she eventually smacked. She did a Will Smith. She must have saw Will Smith's at the Oscars, and she smacked the mess out of him.
Yeah, and like right in front of, I mean, there were people there, which is probably good
Yeah,
because like she said to him, she's like, it's my fault. I think that you have forgotten to fear me, and
conventional approach, true, not as sensational. His numbers were few, but we may yet retake.
It is my fault, I think, that you have forgotten to fear me.
I know that is pretty dope.
Yes,
but she is like, she needs to be in charge, and she needs people to respect her and to fear her a little bit. And the fact that she is not, she's not afraid of. I think she's really getting over the guys on her council.
Yeah, she's annoyed.
One of the reasons that she sent for Corlys because she could trust Corlys, and one of the reasons that she is so dependent on Mysaria, because these guys are just, it's like they're talking around her, they're talking over her, they're talking, down to her in a lot of ways.
Yeah. One thing about her though is I love that despite all this happening, she's still remaining who she is, and she's still pushing back even against them. Like we see in a few episodes where she had that little dig where she said to that to the guy that she sent away last week, I know you have just about the same amount of experience in war as I do because we all live through peace. And then she said that wonderful line this week to this gentleman, where she just said right there too. So, I give her so much props that, despite all this pushback that she's receiving, she's not giving up so easily. And that to me, she gets more points in my book.
Yeah, I mean, I think she knows what's at stake. I think she knows, how much of a balance that she's really at, because, like she said, she's like, I'm constantly reminded I can't go out because if I die, then
what's the point?
What's the point? Then we lose the whole thing. And she's got a point, but on the other hand, kings do go out and fight battles.
Yeah.
And
can I say something? I just reminded me. I'm always doing my parallel. This is definitely parallel to season 7 of Game of Thrones, where Tyrion's saying the same thing to Daenerys. Like, if you go out there and you fight, and if you get hit, one arrow hits you, then it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing. And Rhaenyra reminds me so much of Daenerys that she's listening to these people, but she's growing impatient. And we know what happened with Daenerys. She eventually says, "You know what? I'm out." And she got on her jacket and she did her thing. So it's only a matter of time. We're about to see Rhaenyra say, "You know what? I'm out," and she's about to burn some stuff out. I can see the parallels already. You can't hold a Targaryen woman down, Mike. You cannot hold them down.
No, you definitely cannot. You definitely cannot. And, I think, she obviously, as soon as she heard that there was, somebody riding around on Seasmoke, she's like, oh, no. I need to go that's my dragon. I need to go take care of this.
Yeah. She was not playing around. And I'm so excited to see, because I saw the trailer for the, for the next episode, where she confronts, it's Alan, right? Is Alan the one that...
Adam.
Adam, okay. And Alan's the other one.
Right.
Okay, so she confronts Adam. That's going to be very interesting. Especially since that was her quote-unquote husband's prior dragon. And I hear like a lot of things too. I don't know what you think about this, but they're saying that because Adam was able to bond with Seasmoke, that's indicating that perhaps Sir Laenor is actually deceased. That's how. That's just theories. I don't know. I don't know for sure. You know, I always go back to the thing: if you don't see a death on screen, like you don't actually see the actual death, never count that person out. So we never really saw Leonard die. He just swam into the ocean, back to Pensos with his friends. But that's just
Right.
something.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know if it was off screen and he died. That's fine, or if he's just he's too far away or whatever we don't know what the how the dragons would know that. Like if he goes off to the other side of the world, like how is his dragon going to know that he died?
Maybe like a special
Unless
bond.
there is some kind of bond. This show is interesting in that it's taking a very hands-off approach to like the idea of magic compared to Game of Thrones. Like for instance with Daemon, right? I mean, we are led to think that this has to do with, what Harrenhal is, the Weirwoods, the old gods, the Weirwood bed, and all the the curses and the black magic and whatever that's going on in Harrenhal. On the other hand, it could simply be Alice screwing with him and poisoning him, drugging him, whatever. Like we haven't seen anything specifically. Although in Game of Thrones lore, the whole point of the dragons is that they exist because there's magic in the world, and which is one of the reasons why there were like no dragons for a while, and they made a big point about like the magic came back, like with Daenerys when Daenerys went to the House of the Warlocks. The Warlocks were like, our magic started working again as soon as your dragons were born.
I just watched that episode today. But go on, continue.
Oh, did you really?
Did you that? Yes.
So there's always been a connection between the dragons and magic. This episode, this show is taking, its time. It's either taking its time with that, or it's just kind of, it's like allowing that to exist, but it's not really diving into it. Like everything has a reasonable real world explanation.
Right.
And if you choose to want to believe that there's a magic explanation for it, that works too. And I think it's kind of an interesting approach.
Yeah, that is interesting, and I hope honestly that they do incorporate more of a magical themes or magic themes in there, because that's the fantasy aspect of this whole show and the lore of it. Without that, I mean, I don't know what else you have on there. And it does, to me, the magic does help explain a lot of the things, but I definitely do see where you're coming from, that they are like easing off, or it's like you said, having their hands off on that and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, you could take Alice either way. Alice is either just, she's a healer who knows chemicals and drugs and whatever, or she's a green seer. And
she definitely is.
I personally, I choose to think so as well.
Yeah.
I think there's more to it than she's just screwing with Daemon. I think, she really does have an idea of what's going to happen. And then there's always, Helena. And I would imagine they're going to lean into her visions a little bit more. Because, there was that moment with her and Daemon, or her and Aemond. And I don't think they're going to show a moment like that and not have it lead somewhere.
Yeah, not have it paid off.
So, maybe because Aemond is cagey, and Aemond, obviously grew up with Helena. Maybe he takes her a little more seriously than Aegon did.
Yeah, I heard there was theories that, not even theories, a speculation that Aemon's actually in love with her. Like that's just coming even from season 1. Like he was a lover, was jealous of Aegon, the fact that Aegon, betrothed from Helena. And then I also even heard some theories that even the kid, Aegon's kid, is actually secretly Aemond's and Helena's, but that's his theories. And I also don't even fully think that now I'm thinking about it, because if I'm not mistaken, I think his only main sexual encounter has been with that brothel lady. But I can definitely see the interesting dynamics between Aemond and Helena. And that scene, like you said, for her to say that, like, is this what you want? Or does this happen? I think that's gonna come back to bite him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a possibility. I don't know. That's not what I was thinking. Like, I was thinking more like he takes her seriously in terms of her visions and her ability to predict the future or to see things that are going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, because she's always had these visions where she draws like these crazy things on the walls and stuff like that. And
I feel like nobody stopped.
And they were.
To her.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I feel like nobody's not paying attention to her.
Exactly. That's my point. And right. I somehow I get the idea that Aemond is going to start to pay attention to her and look to her as being like something that he has, because he's always about like pressing his advantages.
Oh, absolutely. He's a real player. That I do admire him about.
And and the thing, so it's like the thing that he said to Aegon, right? When he goes and says to Aegon, he's like,
oh God.
Yeah. But he's like, this, that this is going to change you and people are going to look at you differently.
Wait, you talking about Larys? Say that to
No, I'm talking about Aemond. When Aemond goes to Aegon,
he said
right?
That?
Yeah, when he like had the ball and he put the ball on him.
Yeah, I
he was talking to him.
Yeah, oh yeah. I thought that was Larys Strong saying that to Aegon. I gotta rewatch that. Oof.
Oh, maybe it was Larys. No, I thought it was Aemond.
What I remember Aemond was saying when he put the ball, because it's crazy thing. He says, "What do you remember?"
Oh, that's right. You know what? I think it was Larys. Maybe it was Larys.
Yeah, because Larys is kind of connects with Aemond. Well, first of all, Larys said that because Larys realized that Aemond's not playing around with him. He called him out, and he told him to go get for Otto, go get his grandpa. And he says, nah, I worked too hard to do all this. So he went back to Aegon, and he told him, don't drink none of that milk of the poppy, because we need you to have the right mind. And I think that's when he gave that little that monologue that you just said right there to him. Because he himself is a cripple. Or I should say like that. He is a cripple, and based off of his experience, he basically gave, shit, this is gonna happen, but you know what? You gotta still make it through. And we need you to get back up so you can retain power, so that was acting from the hand or something like that. He didn't say all that, but that's what I was getting from it.
Yeah. I mean, Aemond is definitely looking to just kind of.
He has his own agenda.
Yeah, he has his own thing.
He has his own thing, and he doesn't want nobody, not even his own family, to get away with that. When he dismissed his mother, he's so petty and undermining Alicent so much.
Right.
And when he had to have that conversation, his mother come here, and he just basically said, "What is your purpose on this council?" And she started talking all this stuff, and he says, "Oh, I'm not my dad," He basically said what she said to Aegon, you do nothing, you're nothing, you're useless. That to me was cold blooded. And I think he talked domestic behaviors and domestic stuff. I was like, dang man, come on, that's your mom, man. Don't speak to your mom like that. He was going in.
Serve the realm well, at a time of need. That need is ended. You are no longer obliged.
It's not a matter of obligation. This council is in need of a tempering voice.
But more than enough of those, if you ask me.
You have the impetuousness of youth. And its arrogance, neither of which is to be desired in a king.
I release you of your seat, such as it was. Sure you'll be much pleased to return to Mole. domestic pursuits.
Have the indignities of your childhood not yet sufficiently been avenged?
You know what I think? You know what I think about that is that Aemond he's always very calculating, and he's always very, logical and dispassionate about things, right? He's like, oh, the small folk the people in the city are starving and they want to leave, but we need him here, so lock the gates. It's just he's very much like, I just need to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And his mother being at that table, like, has the ability, I think, to touch him on like an emotional level, and he doesn't want that. Right?
Yeah.
He needs to remain that cold, logical person in his mind. And, even she almost got him at the end, where she's like, have the whatever, the abuses of your childhood, have you not avenged the, abuses of your childhood, or however she said it to him. And, it's almost like he softened up for a moment, and then he takes her hand away from him and basically dismisses her. So I think it's not a matter of like him thinking, oh, I don't want a woman on this council, or she's not giving me good advice or whatever. I think it's just that in his mind, he can't perform at his highest level when she's at the table.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And because she brings emotion to it, and she brings empathy to the table.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want that right now. He needs to just focus on doing the things that he's doing. He needs to, you know what? Kristen Cole's been good to me, but he's not serving me the way he needs to serve me. So I need Otto. Laris is here. Laris would do, anything for me, but he's not going to serve me the way he needs to serve me. So, I need my grandsire here. When he says to Thailand, he's like, you need to go to the Triarchy and negotiate, and we need them, whatever it's going to take. It's just he's very much like, we need to do this and this and this, and he can't have anybody like softening his approach. And I think that's what Allison does, and that's why he needs to get rid of her.
I think you are hitting the nail with the hammer. You are so on point with all of that. I didn't even think of it like that. Like Allison, it's his weakness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you definitely perform differently when you have an intimate relationship with somebody, and they're in the presence. He has to be like that. And I can definitely see it like that. What did you think of speaking of the Lannisters, of the Tywin's twin brother, trying to do like a power play towards Aemond, and says, we're not moving forward until Aemond comes with his dragon. That was like,
well, I don't know. I mean, I think a couple of things. One, maybe he doesn't realize, he's all the way out in the Reach, right?
Right.
He's at the Golden Tooth, and he's disconnected from whatever's going on in King's Landing. So he may not realize the power dynamic has shifted the way that it has. He may not, and two, Aemond is someone that people have always kind of underestimated, because he's the second son.
Yeah.
And and he's a Lannister, so he's going to be kind of cocky and a little full of himself, right? So he's just looking at what he's looking at, right? He's just looking at the moment, and he's looking at, if we're going to do this, I need that dragon, so I'm going to send for the dragon. And not realizing that the power dynamic has shifted, and Aemond is basically running the country now. And so he, that was probably an error on Jason's part.
Oh yeah, and Aemond was not happy. I felt bad for Tyler. He started his head down. He did not want to be in that portion. as Aemond was just going and spewing and letting out his anger and whatnot. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting group that they've got in there. I mean, Thailand, I don't really know where to place Thailand.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously you have, Iron Rod who is trying to, push his own agenda a little bit, and
Oh, he's annoying. I already know who you're talking about. I don't like him.
he's very annoying. You have Maester Orwell who
I love him.
if
I
like
love him.
he's yeah, but if like I'm minding my own business had a face, it would be his
It's
face.
him. It's so 100% him. And you know what I'm saying something about my boy? He knows how to read the room. He knows what to say, when to say, and how to say. Like when
Oh, absolutely.
he gave that report, he knew not to say too much. I think
Even when he's asked, like Allison would ask him questions and he'd be like, I couldn't say,
I couldn't say. Oh man, I hope nothing bad happens to him and nothing anytime soon because I really do enjoy all the seasons. You killed it when you said if minding my business had a face. It's
yeah.
100%.
It's funny that you say he could read the room because
Mhm.
when he came in with,
Mhm.
all happy because Aegon was awake and it was
Yes.
he wasn't reading the room at that point.
No. That part is true. If anything, he should have. That I do agree. If anything, he should have kept what he was saying to himself because Aemond turned blue like the blue crystal in his eye.
Yes,
That's how blue he was.
what happy news.
I know. Oh, my brother's alive.
Yeah, I better go find out. And you know what? I'm thinking about it. You were absolutely right about, and I was wrong about Lara. It was Laris who went to him and did the whole bit about people will look at you differently and underestimate you.
Mm-hmm.
It was Aemond was just about, what do you know? What do you
Exactly.
remember? What are you gonna say?
Yep.
What are you gonna tell people? Because he knows that's a vulnerability for him.
Absolutely.
If Aegon's all of a sudden like my brother tried to kill me.
Man, that's gonna ruin everything that Aemond has planned.
And eventually you have to think as Aegon gets stronger, he is the king. Um, I think that Aemond is going to have to solidify his power a bit. I would not be surprised if Aegon's like brat pack of buddies
Oh yeah.
wind up because they were the ones who screwed up with
Multiple
Helena and
times.
Allison, right?
You like
They were
Daemon, right?
his buddies that he appointed to the Kingsguard.
Yeah.
They were the ones who were out there with Allison and Helena,
Yeah. We talk about the small. Yeah. Later on in the episode. Yeah.
right? Where there was the riot and they
Oh
cut
my
the dude's arm off
gosh.
and
They sure did.
whatever, you know. So I would not be surprised if Aemond, it would serve Aemond well to take care of that problem and,
No way. You
further weaken his brother and strengthen his own position, appoint his own guys if he has any to the Kingsguard. Because the Kingsguard is a fixed number.
really?
So yeah, there's 12 of them or however many there are. There's a set number of Kingsguard, which is what happened, right? Aegon appointed his friends because there was, when that other situation and members of the Kingsguard were lost, and so there were vacancies, and so he appointed, his own people,
The Three Stooges.
and it would certainly behoove Aemon to get rid of those guys. They're idiots anyway.
They really are. Poor performance was not good on their part.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think with Aemon, everything's gearing up for a big battle with Daemon. He says to Sir Crispy, That I welcome a match, a challenge from my uncle if he dares want to challenge me. I feel like when you say something like that, that's just only just a foreshadow.
Yeah.
And then even what Daemon was saying in the previous episode, to Allison, when I Aemond, I think we're gonna get something. I don't know if we're gonna get it this season or not, but something's brewing in the background.
Yeah,
For
I don't think. I mean, we could talk about this like later if we do a little
Mhm.
spoiler section, like a book spoiler section. But I don't imagine that you would see any of that this season. There's only 2 episodes left.
Don't remind me, Mike. Don't remind me. I'm doing my favorite scene, by the way, of Queen Allison looking around. That's the look I get when I realize it's only 2 episodes left.
She can, man. She can stare a table down. I will tell you that much.
I tell you, I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. She needs to get some awards just for that scene alone. That was some
Yeah.
pure acting right then and there.
Yeah, between her, like her talking, that whole bit about where she's like, Aemond is a fearsome dragon rider. He's needed out in the field. I am needed at this table.
Yes.
That whole bit. But then, yeah, the other half of it, once she realizes that she's lost and that this is going to happen,
Yeah.
and she's going to be powerless
Mhm.
to stop it. And now it's gone a step further with her where he's dismissing her from the council, and she's not even gonna have the voice
No.
or the knowledge of what's going on. And this is gonna spin out of control.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know where is the character of Alice is gonna go from here. There's really no purpose. Like I don't see anything that she can do or she can do, moving forward that's gonna have any impact in the storyline moving forward. I think she played her role where she was starting the war, along with it, where she mistook Viserys' prophecy and ran with it and helped usurp, Aegon to the role of king. But now that she has no position in the council, she has no power over any of her sons. She's just sitting there. She's not even her relationship with both Loras and Sir Crispin is done. Her relationship, where it appears that her relationship with Otto is done as well too. He's not picking up her phone calls. He's leaving her on red. I just don't know where this character's gonna go. Like I saw her in the trailer for the next episode. Look, she's about to go swimming. But other than that, I don't know. And I say that in hope that I might be pleasantly surprised that they do take her somewhere, that she does have something up her sleeve, or they give her something that's a big surprise. From now, I don't see anything else. I feel like her role is done. Like she could die next episode, and I feel like it'll be justified because there's something else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, because this show is largely the way they're telling the story. It's largely Rhaenyra and Alicent's story. So, I would imagine they're going to keep her relevant in some way. But talking about her kids, it's funny you mentioned, her kids and how they are. Then she has that conversation with her brother.
Yes.
About Darren.
Yes.
And who she doesn't really know, and this is a little bit different again from the books, because this is like Darren went from the time he was very small, he went out to Old Town. In the book, he went when he was 12. So
really,
yeah. So they're approaching this a little bit different, and it's like, but you got to remember, like, once she doesn't know her brother, like she was raised in King's Landing. Gawain was raised in Old Town. So, they're practically strangers to one another.
This is interesting.
And she doesn't really know Darren either. And, so when he's like, she's like asking him, you know, and you see like Gawain at first is like dismissing her, and then I guess he kind of like takes a little bit of pity on her and starts talking to her. And, you know, so he's like, you know, well, you know, he's this and this, and, you know,
The ladies,
he's good with the
man.
loot. The ladies like him, and he's good with the loot. He's good with, you know, he's good with as he is with the sword, and he's kind.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and she's like, okay, so he's good and kind and clever, and everybody likes him, and I didn't raise him, and the two sons that I raised are a-holes, and
There are. That's why the name A.
What does that say about my mother? What does that say about my mothering skills?
That's enough. You know, and then I think she realized it backfired on her. Like, you know, she thought she had the right intention. She thought she was doing the right thing, but clearly her actions is truly backfired on them. And I think when she heard that Darren was a kind man, I think it brought relief to her that she's, you know what, that there's brought relief and hope to her, the fact that, you know what, I know that despite me, you know, giving birth to these a-holes, you know, there's some hope that at least one of them that is some kind. And I think she goes to say the same thing about Helena as well too, because Helena's definitely not like her brothers, you know. But I'm excited. I don't think we're gonna see what's his name, Darren, right? Darren
the Daring. He eventually gets named. Darren is going to be, should be a pretty interesting character going forward.
Yeah, I think they're setting up. I think we're gonna see him this season, but it's probably gonna be like a one scene, just a premise.
I think we might see like maybe we're going to see like a dragon
coming in
with a guy on the back, but we're not actually going to. It's like they're doing with Rhaenyra's kids. Like you see them, the two little ones, but you never see their faces. You know?
Yes.
I think it's gonna be like maybe you're gonna see like the dragon flying over the Lannister, you know, over the Hightower army or something. But you're not actually gonna see Darren until next season, because apparently they haven't even cast him yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we're gonna get a teaser, and then hopefully they will cast. Not hopefully, I know they're gonna cast it for the next season, and then he's gonna definitely have a more important part to play. Me not knowing what the books, I don't know how it's gonna look like, but I'm very interested to see how he is gonna interact with the family, and also just being Team Green, how he is upon that. Even him being a kind person has a place. I learned, and I said this earlier, if you're kind and you're nice and you believe what's right, and the Lord gave a throne, you do not have a long life. Just know that. All right. You gotta have some type of gray area in morals, or be horrible if you want to live a long life. I'm looking at you, Aemond.
All right, so we haven't really talked about Daemon. We've been kind of avoiding it.
She sure was.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of getting over the whole Harrenhal arc, and I want to see him actually get on his dragon and go do something.
You don't want to see him get on his dragon and do something? His actual dragon. I don't know if you peeped that. When he saw him, the dragon, like that whole scene with the dragon, he looked up his head, he saw Daemon walking, and he made that noise. And then he realized that Daemon was still staying there. I was like, oh, man. I felt that dragon's pain. I think we are all feeling that dragon's pain.
Cracks us like, can we just go? Can we go?
Can
we go?
It's like every kid with a parent. Is it time to go yet? Can we go yet? Can we go yet? Yes.
I don't know. So because I'm old, I watch TV with subtitles on.
I do too.
So you'd see when it said Caraxus grumbling.
Yes. And that had me rolling. I was like, I said, Caraxus gets us, or we get Caraxus. Because I was grumbling and mumbling too.
And he's walking down. He's heading for the gate. Crack's just getting up. He's like, oh, we're going. It's time to go. Got to warm up. Get the wings out. And then Alice stops him, and Crack's is like, woman,
do not interfere. We are about to leave. She's crazy though, but she something I don't trust. I just don't trust her at all. And I think that she, like you said, that she's a green seer. I think she could definitely warg into that owl. She made a comment a few episodes about her being like a owl trapped into a human body, and then the owl comes up onto her. She had her eyes closed, and then the owl comes onto her arms. Okay, that's her. So I'm gonna be paying attention. If I had time, go back to other episodes and see if you see any owls in previous episodes, or even future episodes. See if you see any owls flying around. Other than Nocturnal, if I'm not mistaken, but see, because I think she's definitely spying around.
Does not please you, you run. Dragonstone, Stepstones, Pentos, Harrenhal.
I wake and I do not know where I've been.
There are older things in this world than you, or I, or a living memory. You are not the player, but a piece on the board. As am I, for that matter.
I'm not like you.
In some ways, no. You struggle to see there's an anger that blinds you.
She never even wanted it. The crown. She spared it no thought.
Well, that's perhaps why your brother gave the crown to her. Perhaps those who strive for it are the least suited to wear it.
Don't lecture me!
Yeah, she is. I mean, she's definitely up to something.
She is.
I'm not really sure what exactly, but she is. You know, she's definitely got something going on, and the thing is like. So let's say she's a green seer and she knows what's happening, because she did come, you know, the first time we saw her, she did come to Daemon and say, you're going to die in this place. You know, what's her angle? Why did, you know, why? Because she obviously, I think at the end of the day, she wants Daemon to succeed.
You do?
Why else would she go and kill Grover or Tully? And you know that's what she did.
Oh, she sure did. But sometimes you gotta let things happen in order to make things move. Like in order to make certain pieces to move, you gotta do certain things. I don't trust her at all for David. That's interesting that you say that. I'm on the stance that she's acting nice towards David, trying to be nice, because it's like a trap. Like if he can trust her, if he can feel vulnerable to her, that's when you know she's gonna snipe him out. And I think that like you said, that first conversation they had where she says you're gonna die in this place, I think that's a little warning that she's basically letting him know. Whatnot. But I don't trust her. I don't trust her one bit. But I'm interested to hear what you're saying with that, because I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like what her game plan is. Maybe it's just to get, I don't know, maybe it's just to get him out of Harrenhal. Who knows? You know, maybe she doesn't want them in the Riverlands. I don't know what the deal is, and if she can get him kind of, but then she keeps holding him up. So
she sure is.
So I don't know if that's it at all.
Well, we know he's definitely stayed 3 more days, because she said that. Did she say 3 more days until the wind shifts or something like that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god.
That's what makes me think that maybe she is kind of on a side. But then, you know, with the Green Seers, it's like you never know what they want, like, or what they're doing. You know, like we had even with like the, you know, the Three-Eyed Raven and with Bran in Game of Thrones, it's like they're very cryptic about what they say and how they interpret their visions and what information they release, you know. And so Alice is kind of the same way, and she's kind of like, you know, I'm going to say this thing, and nobody's going to know what it means and or why I'm saying it. But it's definitely, you know, she's definitely doing something. I just trying to figure out what, but I hope Daemon gets up off his butt, gets on his dragon, and just gets the heck out of there
He
pretty
has to
soon.
go. His wife needs him. His wife / niece needs him. Get up and go, Daemon. That place is not for you, buddy. You're not amongst friends. He needs to be respectful and handle his thing.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing though. I'm sorry. He had another dream, of course. He had another little vision, and then shout out to Patty. I forgot his last name. The guy who plays King Viserys from season 1.
Patty Considine.
Yes, he's wonderful. Almost, and I was very happy.
It was so good to see him back.
It was so good to see him back, and to see another take. You see, we got 2 portions of it. The scene where from season 1, episode 1, where he actually both seasons from episode 1 of season 1, where he basically says, "Did you call him the heir for a day?" And we see that's a big portion where that's where he denounced Daemon as being the heir and replaced it with Rhaenyra.
Right.
So what I like is when he's grieving over the loss of his wife, despite that he was the reason why his wife died. But I'm not going to talk about that. You see how Daemon takes the opportunity to really console and comfort his brother. And I feel like that scene was needed to definitely it's not even a word, humanize Daemon in that area. You know?
Yeah, it seems like these visions that he's having, he's like taking a tour of like all his guilt and regrets, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like with Rhaenyra, as you know, young Rhaenyra, with you know the killing of Aegon's son.
Yeah.
With his mother and not knowing his mother, and and now with his brother. And the fact that he didn't take the time to console him, that he did mock his dead son, and all these things, and it's like, it's like he's getting mulligans on everything, and especially on this, this is probably his biggest, thing that his biggest trauma, I guess, that is that's bothering him is this relationship that he had with his brother, the fact that his brother set him aside for Rhaenyra, and could that have been avoided if he had acted better, if he had been a better brother to Jaehaerys? And
I feel like that despite that, and he really did, and he did act out the way he did when he did announce him as being the heir. We still see a glimpse of him. And we do see it even throughout season 1, that despite that, he still has love for his brother. He still has those intimate portions with his brother. Like he saw as he's holding Viserys, as he's crying, weeping, and he gives him that little soft kiss on the back of his head. That was such a beautiful, intimate moment for me. And it made me realize, once again, the parallels that we tend to see with Aemond and Daemon. Because within the same very episode previously, we see another intimate moment with, and I use that word loosely, between Aemond and Aegon and Aemond. And Aemond is definitely not being all, empathetic towards his brother at all. He's using fear. Whereas in this scene, Daemon is using empathy, to connect. And then I feel like Aemond is disconnecting towards Aemond through there. I don't know if that makes sense with that. But I like that. I like how they keep on putting the 2 sides of the same coin, in terms of Daemon and Aemond and whatnot. And despite Viserys is doing all that stuff towards making them, I still believe that Daemon has a lot of feelings towards his brother, but I think the good overrides the bad. Like he still has a lot of love for his brother, a lot of respect. And I'm thinking about that image once again. I think when they're having a big fight in the courthouse, and then Viserys just comes out of nowhere. And before I think Viserys is about to fall, or something falls off, and Daemon picks it up and puts it back on Viserys' head. That to me just shows true brotherly love right there.
Yeah, well, it was his crown, right? His crown fell off, and Daemon picked it up, and it was kind of like, what's he going to do? And it was he's like, no, I'm going to put it back on my brother's head because he's the
Yeah.
king.
So say what you want. And I'm saying to people listening, Daemon loved his brother.
Absolutely.
And I know he had that rough conversation with Rhaenyra, I think it was like episode 2 or 3 of the season. And she told him the truth, like, you're jealous of my brother, you're angry of that. That is also true, but that still doesn't change the love that Daemon had. And I think that definitely reflects the human side of Daemon, if that makes sense. It just adds an extra layer to him, which I truly, really love. So, I'm tired of being here and all, but I do appreciate these scenes in that aspect, that they're definitely giving a new layer to the complex of Daemon.
And I agree with all that, and I do like you. And you don't cast an actor like Matt Smith and have him just show up, give a couple orders, and leave. Right? You're going to have him explore the depth of this character.
Absolutely.
That said, I think they've done that, and now it's time for Daemon to get on his dragon and go burn some stuff.
You know what? I agree. Everything happens for a reason, for a season. This season is over. The milk has expired. Daemon, it's time to go. Like, literally, we only have 2 episodes left. We've been here all season long. It's chop, chop. Let's go.
Yeah. But you know who's going is Massaria. She is putting all kinds of plans and actions.
Whoa!
And, this is pretty good stuff. One, she's got, she's doing this kind of underground thing to get, the people on Rhaenyra's side, right?
I love it. The Uber Eats.
The Uber Eats bit, and the boat's full of food with Rhaenyra's sigil on them, but also she's got she's got people in there, kind of testing the waters and seeing,
I love that scene.
What if I come into this place and I just talk about Rhaenyra a little bit and see what happens? And, and of course she's got Ulf but the whole tide is turning with the people. And it's always been, like, there's been this theme throughout the season about, the Smallfolk and the people and what's going on, right? And it struck me that, during the funerals procession, right, you got all those people surrounding Alicent and Helena, and they're like, our blessed queen, and they're all on their side. They're throwing the hops at them, and they're calling out to them, and they're trying to touch them, and they're trying to call to them. And now that's turned around, and the same 2 women, they're chasing them down. They're throwing fish at them. They're throwing stuff at them. You know what I'm saying? It's like how fast it's turned around. The crowd was fully on their side, and now the crowd is fully against them in a short amount of time.
Yeah. It just goes to show you that people are fickle, Mike. They're very conditional. Their loyalty towards you relies on circumstances. And I think it's always going to be like that, with just regards to people. You give people what they want and what they want to hear, what they need, they're going to love you. The moment that tide starts to turn around, you're going to hear a whole different tune. And we know this because these people are hungry. They just eating soup, like just watered down soup with fish, and they don't got no meat. And then they literally see those precious lambs. I don't know if you ever had lamb before, Mike. The lamb is delicious. So I
know.
You know, right? All right, so you see all that, and that's being feed to the dragon. And it goes back to what you said earlier, when they put those people in to have those conversations. One of the things that the lady was saying was or how they're having these big feasts over there, while meanwhile we're just having barely nothing. and it's all kept like under privacy. Oh, they are playing their cards well, and I like to say they're playing the Game of Thrones quite well right now because hungry people are going to hear, especially talking about food and what's happening. That's going to easily tick them off easily and easily sway them in terms of negative actions. So
yeah, and Sylvia's really like she's really working it, you know, where she's like, oh, my girls went over there. My girls went over there and there were revels and there was parties. Oh, and they fed them and lamb and beef and blah, 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 blah. And they're doing it again on the morrow, you know? And it's just like, and then they actually see the, you know, like you said, the wagon of lambs that are going to go feed the dragons. And it's like, and so they've already, the dragons are already down in their estimation because, you know, of Melise's head. You know, they killed Melise, so these dragons are not indefeatable, and now they're taking food that those lambs could fed 50 people, 100 people.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and they're going to go feed the dragons, and it's just a very clever way because they're going to need, if Rhaenyra's going to come and take the city, she's going to need the people on her side. Right.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to open the gates. Somebody's got to be there for her. And she can't come in and just, you know, take over a hostile city. She wants those people on her side to help her. So when she comes, her army comes because she doesn't have a big army, you know, those people are going to help overthrow whatever's going on. And that's really important. So they're, you know, Mysaria is really kind of moving these pieces around in a very clever way, and I think this is really going to be a good payoff for Rhaenyra.
Oh, absolutely! It was back to back, in my opinion, from that conversation to her bringing the food to even just that scene, just them seeing what people are saying is coming to being true with the lamb being catered off to the dragon. Oh yeah, that's definitely, like you said, that's definitely a big win for Rhaenyra. And I always forget her name. What's her name? Mysaria?
Yeah, Mysaria, the White Worm.
The White Worm, yeah.
Right, because she sent what's her face? The servant girl. I forget her name. Lindy. Yeah, and she sent her down to go see Sylvie, and they're kind of setting the whole thing up from their side.
And she heard with the other the half brother of Viserys. I forget his name. How he was, what's his name?
Ulf.
Thank you. He made a comment about being like the usurper and that Rhaenyra being the white folk king. So they used that trigger, those keywords. And that, you know, that him talking as well too. There was, like you said, they're testing the ground, and it paid off splendidly for everyone involved. So I definitely think that things are looking really well for.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you know, Hugh's like beating a guy to death for a bag of lettuce.
He cracked me up for that. You know, like, when it gets down to it, when you got survival of the fittest. That's why he said to justify that. He said, where did you get that from? He said, I got from that boat. He said, I got this from you. Bam! Took that food and ran off with it. You know what? I'm not even mad at him.
No, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to take care of what you got to take care of, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think it's going to work out well. They definitely, I always say to you guys, and this by no means no spoilers, but if they keep on showing these characters throughout the season, it is for a reason. And if these people have white hair and they're talking about this stuff, I mean, it's basically obviously for all of us. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these next few episodes be played out, especially when it comes to these characters.
Well, we should. Yeah, let's speculate a little bit. So let's put the spoiler warning out. We'll have Ramsey.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Stop it! You're spoiling it! You're spoiling everything!
And we'll you know, if you haven't read the book and you're not interested in hearing speculation based on the book, then the next few minutes I'm going to talk about a couple of things. So obviously they're setting up for the seeding. Obviously, you're completely right, Justin. They're setting up, we're not spending time with Adam and Ulf and Hugh, for S&Gs. We're here because they're going to be important to the story. And, they've all, obviously take one look at Hugh and his hair, and that he's got Targaryen blood. Ulf has already told us that he's got Targaryen blood.
He's bragging about it.
We saw Adam, we saw Alan shaving his white hair off.
Yes.
And it's funny because you were talking last week about how you can't be bald and be Lord of the Tides, and turns out that's an intentional choice on his part.
Oh man, that was a good payback for that. Yes.
And we see obviously Seasmoke is like, she's like, boy, I've been flirting with you for weeks.
You just like I like you and I want you.
You got a girlfriend? You do now.
Yes, yes, I can. I'm cracking up. That is so true. Oh man, well, that's what it reminded me of Shrek with Donkey and that dragon from Shrek. That's how it was looking like right now.
That's right.
But yeah,
she's like,
but also,
on Driftmark, dragon claims you.
Yeah, on Driftmark, dragon claims you. I love it. I love it. This is some gold right here. I'm telling you guys, this is some gold. And then don't forget about my girl, Rhaena.
Right. So obviously Sheep Stealer's up in the Vale.
Mm-hmm. And Lady this.
And I like the way so we had talked about last week how it looks like, that they're giving Nettle's story to Rhaena, and there's no, obviously that's what they're going to do is they're going to give that storyline to Rhaena, and Rhaena's going to be the girl who is going to ride Sheep Stealer. And I saw a lot of people online this week complaining about that.
Really interesting.
Because they're like, oh yeah, sure, because Nettles is a brown skinned girl, and they're like, oh yeah, cut a black girl out of the story. And I just want to point out that in the book, Rhaena's white, and she's barely in the book at all anyway. So they are keeping a brown skinned girl in that role.
Well, I like that. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm happy for that.
Yeah, the Valerians are all white in the book.
I did remember hearing about that. Yes, that is true.
So, so they're definitely giving Nettle, the Nettles piece to Rhaena, right? They're not going to show that Sheep Stealer's in the Vale and not do something with it. But I really appreciate what, I like the way she went to Jane Eyre and was like, you've been misleading me.
Yes.
There is a large dragon here.
You misled me, my lady.
I did what?
There is a large dragon in the Vale.
Rumour of it began shortly after the war, ranging more broadly for food, my maester's surmise. It is large and formidable, but alas wild.
Alas.
Yes.
And Jane was like, well, we weren't sure,
Yeah. It is wild, by the way. She's yeah, oh.
Yeah, Sheep Stealer is, so there are two wild dragons. There's Sheep Stealer and there's the Cannibal. And the Cannibal, they call the Cannibal because that dragon eats like other dragons, and especially like young dragons and stuff.
Oh boy.
And yeah, but I don't think, like, as far as in the book goes, I'm pretty sure that dragon never gets claimed by anybody. But Sheep Stealer, you know, in the book gets claimed by Nettles. Obviously is going to get claimed by Rhaena. I don't think I'm really talking out of turn by making that obvious connection. And so in the book, Ulf gets Silverwing and Hugh gets Vermithor. And Adam gets Seasmoke. So that's 4 and plus you have Syrax and you have Syraxes. So the odds are ever in the favor of the blacks at this point when it comes to dragons.
I don't know, man. I don't want to say stuff because I don't want to even spoil it for myself, but I just know this. When something's too good to be true, that's for a reason.
That is correct.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Go ahead.
We're making the assumption that everybody stays on the sides that they're on right now.
Oh my gosh! Ugh. Okay. That's all I need to. Oh my god, that's messing with me.
And I don't know what's going to happen because, like I've said before, they deviate from the books a lot. So, but there may be some wavering of people's resolves at some point, and I won't even say who.
Okay, that scares me. But okay, but I definitely want some. And excuse my language here, yeah. I definitely need some WTF moments, especially with these last 2 episodes. And I feel like that can do some stuff. I feel like it's really interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. Because the only one they have right now, I'm thinking about in terms of the Greens, is they have that big old butchback beastie of a dragon, Vagar. And they have it was Dreamfire, but Helena doesn't really fight. And then they have Daemon's dragon. That's the only one I can think of. And maybe Helena's and Aegon's child may have a dragon. But yeah, if you have all those, it's just this this would be interesting.
Well, I mean, the thing to remember about Darren is Vagar is like the nuclear weapon, right? I mean, Vagar is that's worth a few dragons, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is just kind of a matter of experience and how so obviously Syraxes is a very experienced dragon and a very good fighter. Obviously Syrax is an experienced fighter. Obviously Vagar, Granny War Crimes is she's the oldest. As far as Darren goes, I mean, Tessarian's a pretty young dragon. Sheep Stealer obviously is a wild dragon, so Sheep Stealer hasn't seen much in the way of battle, but that would also maybe lead her to be pretty fierce. Seasmoke has seen some action. So I mean, they've definitely got they definitely got some experience on their side.
Mm-hmm. They do. It's just, I feel like the quantity over quality in this situation. The more you have, one like, 'cause I feel like going back to even like episode 4, like if I mean, first of all, Aemond could have won that easily because he had Vagar. I just feel like that's how it is. I feel like Maely's and Rennie's are more experienced. That's Vagar's is Vagar.
Right.
But then you would add on to the fact that Aegon and his dragon was a Sunfire. They were there too. It's 2 against 1. There's no way. There's no way. No way at all.
No, absolutely not. And Sunfire, another young dragon.
Although Sunfire's I hate to say it, it's a whip. It took that thing one hit and it went down like that.
Yeah. Well, it was a heck of a hit, though.
It was a heck of a hit, and then it was close blown. But I was like, really?
And there's also, I forgot, there's Vermithor. Vermithor is a big dragon and a big experienced dragon.
Not as big as Vagar, but close
nobody's
enough.
as big as nobody's as big as Vagar.
Yeah, because she was talking. I know she was talking about that.
Vagar's almost as big as Balerion was.
Who was Balerion?
Balerion was Aegon the Conqueror's dragon.
And that was the one that burned down Hollandhorn.
Right. Yeah. Balerion the Black Dread. Yeah.
The Black Dread. Okay. I remember you. Yes.
Vagar is the only living creature to have seen Old Valyria. Vagar was born in Old Valyria. That's how old she is.
That blew my mind.
She's the only like creature living to have been living in that time. So
that's grandma right there.
That is grandma right there.
Grandma packs a punch.
Yeah. So we'll see. We got 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is going to be a big punch at some point, and I'm kind of back on the fence, thinking maybe we are going to see the Siege of King's Landing. I don't know. I'm wavering.
They mention it. I think they mentioned like an episode or 2 ago about that. So it's like you say, when you make a comment or a phrase in these shows, it's for a reason. So
yeah,
and I think they pay, but I don't know. They usually pay things off like seasons later and stuff. But I think they might pay it off even sooner than we think. So that will be interesting.
It will be interesting, and we may see the beginning of it. I don't know.
Will we see Otto Hightower? That's what I want to know. He's been see that?
I mean, so in the book, when Rhaenyra comes to King's Landing, he's in King's Landing.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
But also, he's the one in the book. He's the one who negotiates with the Triarchy. So they've changed that whole thing up.
Okay.
But
yeah,
Aemond did send for him, so maybe he will.
Maybe he's catching a ride with Darren.
Maybe he will. Maybe he will show up.
Yeah, I think he is going to show up. Let's do this. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and don't forget, we've also got another show next year coming as well, right? The Night of the Seven Kingdoms is going to be dropped next year. So next year next year may be an interesting year.
Yeah, but you think they're not going to show House of the Dragon next year?
I don't know. Maybe they'll
Oh, love that.
maybe they'll do the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, whatever that first season is. I mean, what's that going to be? Eight episodes, maybe 10, and then they'll do House of the Dragon behind it. I don't know.
Yeah, that will be awesome. I know they gotta still, film and all that stuff. I just miss the era where seasons will come in like at least a year to a year and a half.
Yeah.
Not this 2 year stuff.
2 year stuff is 2 year stuff is too annoying.
It's very annoying, and they're not the only shows that do it. Like all my shows that I watch are doing it right now, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in right now.
It is. All right, so that's about it. That about wraps up season 2, episode 6, and we will see you guys again next week for episode 7. See what happens there.
Yes, thank you. Mike, make sure you send me a Raven so I can join you for next week.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.